welcome to the pitching session organized within Hackathon, organized by Polish Space Agency, and under the Space hUbs network project. So it's my pleasure today to present your presentation, which I hope will help you in preparation of your pitches now and in the future. So when it's your time for pitch, I would suggest you to start with a very nice exercise. So let's start from creating one sentence which will be the best description of your idea. So, and it will really explain the idea. And I would suggest that you create a sentence which will be up to 140 characters. So it's not an easy task, but I really think that if you start your presentation of your pitch, preparing your pitch with this one sentence, it will really help you to stimulate your ideas. And if it's difficult for you to just create one sentence, such a short sentence, I would also suggest you to start with the keywords. But I think that one sentence like this could be very helpful for you in the future also to present different ideas which you will have. Because if you are asked by the investor or by the project officer in the future or your boss or whoever else, what do you do? What does your project service or whatever you do bring in? This one sentence could be very, very, very useful. So I really suggest you start doing this by creating this one sentence. And later on, what you should do is to answer yourself the following questions. So, first of all, I would like you to think, why now? Why now is the best moment to do what you do? So this is the first question I would really like you to answer. Then try to think, or I hope you already thought about it, and this is why you create the idea. What is the problem? What is the challenge you are solving? Okay, so nobody, our ideas, our services, they are solving a problem, which could be a global problem, it could be a local problem, but there is a problem which really triggers your idea, and this is really important to be aware of what it is and also to present it in your pitch. So try to really think, well, what is your problem, what is your challenge, and use it during your pitch, because this will be something which will match you with your users, with your customers, and with the listeners, because they will be, for them it will be easier to understand what your idea is for. And then how your clients overcome now this problem challenge. So obviously, we are not creating new problems. The problems which we are solving, there exists already. And there are several, probably there are several solutions which already solve this problem, but maybe it's not time efficient, maybe it's not money efficient, or it's just not good enough. And that's why your solution is needed. And this is also very important for your pitch, because you need to show how your idea, how your service is better than state of the art, how it's better than up-to-date solutions, and this is something which you should be absolutely aware of. And this is, of course, a kind of step towards competition illustration. Then, why the current status needs to be changed. So why really? What are the reasons why the current situation, the current solutions needs your improvement or needs your totally different idea? What should be done? Okay, so how do you identify steps which should be undertaken in order to solve this problem or change the current status, and what have we done? So of course, when you talk about the service or idea, normally it comes from the experience or comes from the work which wasn't raised just a moment ago, but this is a solution which is built for some time. And very often, what have we done is something which we also start to use in the introduction of the pitch, but this is something which I will come back to in a bit later. What are the advantages of your solution? So try to think about the benefits brought by your solution. And this is something which I would like you to use in the end of your pitch. How does our solution work? This is just a description of your service solution, and I would really suggest you that you should devote at least 30 seconds to explain it during your pitch, because if you don't, the worst situation will happen, which is that you will be asked by the audience or by the investor, whoever is listening to you, so what do you do actually? So this is something which is really the worst nightmare of all the people who are pitching their solutions. Okay, so the last questions which need to be asked, so which markets are we targeting and how are we going to reach them, arrive there? So very often we are saying that, okay, our solution will be used by this, that, etc. And we are creating this very broad vision, but in the end, the problem is that we need to reach them, we need to arrive these markets. And this is the question which I would like to ask yourself. Do you really believe you can reach these markets, and how would you do that? So this is the next question you should ask. And last but not least, what are the expected sources of income and estimated revenue? So you really should be aware and should know. This is something which normally one of the persons in the team is covering, what are the sources of the income for your solution. Very often in my past, I was talking with the teams which really they were creating a solution for the users, so people who uses but doesn't pay. If you're really thinking of the customers, you need to convince your audience that you really can sell your product. So you are talking about the customers, not users, and this difference is very, very important. So then we have also, what have we already achieved in case of funding? So this is one of the slides which I will show you in a second that it's expected from you to be said in the pitch. And what do we need? So tell investors, tell your audience, what do you need? If you need money, if you need support, if you need mentoring, if you need people to your team. So be very clear, be very to the point. In case of funding, just provide a number and explain why this number is valid. And do we have a team, and do we cover all the needed roles and qualifications? Many times in my life I've heard that in the pitch the most important is the team. Because investors, the listeners, they listen to to many teams, and what really makes a difference is the team, is the experience as well as comprehensivity. So please remember to be very clear about your team. Show their skills, show that you work together for some time or not. Anyway, show that you have every skills needed to bring the job you are promising. So in the summary, I would like you to create 3 additional benefits offered by your solution to your clients to support your one sentence which you were creating in the beginning. So try to create a sentence which could be used, for example, in the end as the last point of your pitch, and try to use these 3 benefits which could be used as a summary of your pitch. So this is a very short introduction how I suggest you to start working with the pitch, and now it's time for your pitch. So in order to... Muszę się znaleźć tylko teraz tym. Okej. Teraz jeszcze dogram to, co tam całą to... Muszę znaleźć folder. Dobra, tak będzie ładnie, przepraszam. A muszę być twardy, tylko się otwiera. Okej, dobra. So in order to create your pitch, I suggest you to use the following template. The template will be available under the presentation or could be sent by the organizer, so if you need it, just ask for it. So introduction. Introduction, I didn't put any extra information here because really introduction is all about you and about your idea. Introduction normally lasts 15 to 30 seconds, and this is a lot during the 3 minutes presentation, but introduction is a very important point when you really capture the attention of your listeners. And this is important for you to remember that if you catch this attention, they probably will listen through this 3 minutes presentation, and maybe you will have their interest for further talks and to raising money. Introduction could be really everything you want. This could be, for example, your experience and the situation which happened which trigger you to provide a solution. This could be introduction to this problem which you are trying to solve. Normally, I suggest to use a kind of interesting information which really brings attention, of course, which is related to your pitch. Also, under the video, I will provide you with the link to Galileo Copernicus Master's pitch, where you can really find quite interesting pitches provided by the winners of this competition, and I hope you can look for some nice inspirations there. Okay, so the second slide should be about the problem and the solution. So you already identified the problem and solution, and try now to present what is the customer pain. Is there currently a problem or unmet market need? This doesn't have to be really a problem. This could be just a need which have not yet been solved. And for example, you've reached several clients who said that they have this need. And try to tell a story about how your innovation is unique in elevating this pain of fulfilling customers' needs. So try to really try to tell a pitch in the form of a story. And I think this kind of introduction and then problem and solution provision is something which is a very nice story. So try to focus either on a problem or a kind of pain the customer have, or maybe just a need, that there is still a niche which haven't yet been provided by anybody else, and this is why you are here. In the next slide, I suggest you to talk about the value proposition. So why would customer think that your position is really valuable? Define and assess the concrete benefits a customers get from using your products or services. So try to be very specific. I know it's very difficult very often in this stage of the ideas. It's sometimes very difficult really to assess these benefits. But try to be very precise, saying that the time efficiency or the cost efficiency will be higher by this and this percentage, or they can save this and this money. Sometimes it's very difficult. Don't lie. Try to be as precise as you can. But all these numbers always are very valuable, and they show that you really worked on an idea. So this is not really an idea, it's something you really worked through very well so far. Okay, market opportunities and risks. Okay, so what is the market creating potential? So what markets are you targeting? Are you targeting one city, one town, region, country, or can you go global, and how fast can you go global? Give a prediction of the size of the target market, the share you even intend to capture. So let's be honest. Sometimes we say our market is global, but then you say that really the share is 10%, and this does change the idea, and it does change the global scope. Explain how your product will transform the market. List the main risk related to your innovation and how you deal with it. So as you can see, we're going deeper and deeper, and we're putting a lot of information again in only 3 minutes. And normally in this kind of events, you will be stopped after 3 minutes. So you need to be very, very precise and direct, and try to use this bullet points as a kind of directions for you and suggestions. Try also, of course, to adapt your pitch depending on who you will be listened by. So if you will be listened by people who are rather from market oriented, they will be looking for this kind of information. If you are listened by technicians, maybe this is less important, but of course should be also covered. And of course, most important thing, try to use as much as visual material here in the slides, but of course prepare your pitch carefully. And the best is just learn by heart and then use it for this 3 minutes presentation. Okay, who is your competition? This is really important, and very often this is something which is absolutely neglected by the pitch providers. So remember, there is always a competition, and investors very often people who listen to you, they are really aware of what is your competition, and they can absolutely put you down, saying, okay, you have a direct competition which is already in the market and they are very strong and you have no chances. So be very aware what is the competition. Look for that. Look for information, and most important, show how you are different for this competition and why really you have a chance to compete with the actors which are already on the market. Business model. Okay, so show how you're gonna do the money, how you're gonna make money. So this is something which I told you before. Remember that it will be very easily seen in your pitch if you are talking about users or customers. So if you really believe that your solution could be sold, then try to really outline all the information which are provided in the slide, and show the pricing, show the schedule, also when you are able to reach these revenues, and when can you, for example, raise the money which will cover back the funding. Okay, and of course, the last one is commercialization and marketing strategy. So what we discussed before, how are you going to really reach your market? And remember also that when you work on the costs, you need to put the cost of the marketing. This is something which is very often forgotten by the pitch providers. And remember that reaching the market is also very expensive, so you need to be quite careful about it. And financial projections. So try to estimate what will be the sales, what is the number of the potential clients, what are potential other investments which you need, which you're going to receive, and how you're going to invest the money you're going to receive, and as well as try to look also for different sources of funding, so you can show also that your idea is strong enough to raise other funding. We talked about the team before, so this is also very important. This should be absolutely one slide covering the team. So who are the key members? Sometimes pitch are being given by more than one person, but this is quite difficult. When you record the video with your pitch, it's quite interesting to have different people, because then you can manage the video a bit different. But when you go in live, I suggest to do it by one person, but really show your team, show them the photos, show their experience, so you can convince the investors that the team is really strong and they can do the job you are promising. And as you see, convince the team has the determination, the forcefulness, and expertise, etc. So, as well as highlight all the commercial, all the successes you already achieved. If you feel that during preparation of the slides you would like to pass too much information which could not be fit in these 3 minutes, try to put them as an extra slide, because normally after the pitch we have this question and answer session, which normally lasts even after 10 minutes after the 3 minutes pitch. So it's highly probable you will be able to use them after. So really, when you when you prepare all the slides and you find yourself that your pitch will be much longer than 3 minutes, which is determined, then try to put them after. So very highly probable you will use them after in the Q&A session. And conclusion. You remember we've talked about 1 sentence, 3 benefits. Conclusion should be something which will last in the heads of the listeners. So closing summary which will convince and leave a lasting impression. So when the person will go out of the room, will go home, they will really like to speak to other people and say, listen, I have these guys today, they talk about this and that, and this last sentence is something which normally lasts the longest in the heads of the listeners. And this is something which you really want to make nice, because this is your chance to be remembered. So I think this is it. I hope you can use it for your pitches presentation in the future, and thank you.